r/AskReddit. What is the creepiest thing that society accepts as a cultural norm? Reality TV. The irony of the name. The fact that two of the biggest selling fictional series of the last decade, Twilight and 50 Shades, both depicted abusive relationships. In the case of Twilight, it's even creepier that the girls reading these books are often at an age where they are extremely impressionable in how they perceive a healthy relationship. Edit. I'm not saying 50 Shades is abusive because of the BDSM. There are plenty of people in the BDSM community who have completely healthy relationships. But when someone ignores sappy words, that's not being dominant. That's ape, and no one who's going to say that ape isn't abuse. Also, jinkies. I didn't expect this reaction at all. I didn't realize the can of worms I was opening here, and when I had to go to work I didn't have any idea what I'd come home to. I'm trying to get through most of the comments. Good and bad, and thanks a bunch for the Reddit gold. I like that Jacob straight up calls her out as being in an abusive relationship. Hangs head in shame for knowing that. It's okay. I read the books too. I wanted an educated dislike of the series. Ape in prison. It is seriously ducked up how people talk about prison ape as either a deserved punishment or a big joke. In all fairness, this is how society treats male on male ape in general. I live in China. The creepiest thing here is women are encouraged to speak and act like 12 years to attract men. To ladies in my office, talk in high-pitched child voices and throw temper tantrums regularly, and the guys think it's sexy. Ducking weird. Edit. Ignis99 was talking about how Chinese babies don't wear diapers and just wear crotchless pants and hit everywhere. That reminded me of another really creepy thing. I'm on the Chinese version of Facebook book, Renren, and my university students constantly put pictures of naked little boys. Anywhere from birth to 4 or 5 years of age. Because it's really cute apparently. I'm always struck how about half my students would be arrested for child porn in the West. To be clear though, these are not XL. They are stupid. Silly pictures of things like the baby's penis and elephant's trunk and stuff. And yes, writing that sentence did make me realize just how ducked up that sounds. China is basically a pedophile's dreamland. This was a joke, people. I actually think their thoughts on child nudity are far more healthy than the West's. Edit 2. Yes, I agree the West has serious issues with sexualizing children as well. That parents get in trouble for taking pictures of their baby is seriously ducked up. I'm trying to deal with one of these girls at my home right now. It's unbearable. She makes 3 sounds: stomping, yelling, and a terrible laugh. Do you know of any literary sources on this topic I could read through? How can I combat it? And how the duck deep guys think this is sexy? It's cultural. You don't combat it, except by explaining how ducking annoying it is, which might make them do it less around you, but they'll still do it. Seriously. I've tried combating it with exes, and it doesn't work. If this girl is your girlfriend, sit her down. Tell her it's really annoying, and you don't want to date a 12-year-old girl because you aren't a pedophile. If she accepts that, congratulations. If she doesn't, break up and move on. And how the duck deep guys think this is sexy? I've heard many Chinese guys explain it as such. Children are both innocent and useless. Innocent means virgin and sweet. Useless mean they need you, and you are HTE man, so you will feel strong and useful when the girl tells you she doesn't know how to carry her purse in public, so you have to. Not to be incredibly rude to Chinese men, and sorry to those Chinese men who also find this creepy, as I know there are many out there, but it basically boils down to some Chinese men need weak girls to feel strong, and are obsessed with virgins because it's an incredibly traditional and close-minded culture that hasn't had the chance to modernize its thinking in regards to women. Men can go duck all the KTV whores they want, but a girl must save her precious virginity for the man who can put up with her childish bullshit. Rant. Sorry. Been here a long time. A lot of bitterness built up. What's with the window stickers on the back of cars? Honoring people who've died? Why would you need to say hey, somebody I cared about died to the person behind you at the red light? I can't understand people's need to make their personal grief public this way. It's like driving around in a headstone. Creepy. OMG. I have thought this so many times. Why are you honoring someone who died on your car when you are probably replace it in 5-7 years? Also, what are the odds that the person being remembered died in an auto accident? I'm from the US, but the Pledge of Allegiance, when you think about it, it's pretty creepy. A teacher friend of mine says it is really creepy to watch all the students in unison say the pledge. It honestly seems like something out of those dystopian future films. Or North Korea. Pageants for little girls. Creepy on multiple levels. Or, more accurately, pageants for parents. Starring little girls. The only thing that separates you from a head-on collision on the road is a bit of paint in the center. Also knowing how to drive. And more worryingly, trusting that everyone else on the road knows how to drive. The difference between a girl wearing a bra and panties in public and a swimsuit is that only one is socially acceptable. The fact that nudity itself is taboo seems weird to me. Sure, being naked all the time isn't plausible, but people freak out about nudity. It's just the human body. It's not that big a deal. Speak for yourself. I have a big deal. And I'm proud of it. How paying a woman or man to duck you on camera and then putting the footage up for sale is perfectly fine. But doing the same thing sans camera is illegal and can permanently ruin both persons' lives. This depends on the country. Prostitution is legal and regulated in parts of Europe and Australia. Heck, it's legal in some counties in Nevada. Dressing up our dead to parade around to others. I'm sorry, I know closure is important, but it always reminds me of taxidermy, which I also find creepy. Just put them in a white sheet and bury them. They don't know you're putting them in a suit or whatever. Don't waste money. Edit, for all of you saying funerals are for the living. Would it be acceptable to dress up my uncle as a Wonder Woman and bury him? After all, the funeral is for me. Strip clubs. I mean, I like a nice pair of boobs as the next guy. But paying women who we have no chance of sleeping with to jiggle their naughty bits in front of us is rather odd. Also, the idea of a bunch of guy friends going to get hard with each other is as creepy as those old middle school jerk-off sleepovers that we all had. Edit, well, apparently me and my friends were weird little hits. Or you all won't admit going into your dad's Playboys and noticing a funny feeling. Edit 2, thanks for the gold. I'm not sure if it is for the 10-year-olds jerking it or the strip clubs. But thanks. Not sure if I remember those sleepovers. I bet you don't even remember peen inspection day at school. That if you take a candid picture of an attractive person it's creepy, but if you take a candid picture of a fat person it's hilarious, and on peerplayafwim@.com. I love it when someone on FB posts a status about how terrible bullying is and then posts a pic making fun of some poor soul who has 10,000 strangers passing around their pic to make fun of them. Why don't the hypocrites get called out on enough? Piercing infant girls' ears. What goes better with this diaper? Gold or silver? Green. Matches the color of alimony. 10-year-old girls dressing like hookers. Alternatively, when hookers dress as 10-year-olds. Or 10 hookers who dress like 1-year-olds. In relation to the recent thread, apparently touching some stranger's baby bulge unannounced. Shucks Buster. Didn't you know that pregnant women are public property? Edit, what the duck happened here? Grasslands. Let me explain. Turf grass is the most common irrigated crop in the US by a factor of 3. Also, per day 4 billion lbs of potable water and 70 million lbs of pesticides on a plant, which does nothing but look nice. Edit, thank you for the gold stranger. I live in England. The irrigation falls from the sky. The main problem last year was waiting for it to get dry enough to mow it. That's the thing though. The idea of having a lawn has carried over from areas where the climate is right for it to grow naturally into places where it makes no sense at all. People literally pour gallons of water onto the ground every day just to make a plant grow somewhere it shouldn't exist because it looks nice. People from arid regions complaining about their lawn may be the biggest first world problem ever. Twilight moms. The fun part is that if you reverse it and have a bunch of 40-year-old men go to a theater to scream at shirtless underage girls, the SWAT team would be called. What an odd visualization that creates. Solitary isolation in prisons. You will sit in a box for the next month. I hope you come out of prison totally ready to assimilate back into society. Lunacy. Edit. Now I'm ashamed of the karma I have generated off this post. Well played, Reddit. Can we add the prison system in general, at least in America? I don't know about anywhere else. We lock a bunch of criminals up with each other, allowing them to make lots of gang connections. Those who aren't hardened criminals, when they go in, are quickly made such due to the harsh environment they are in. There's not really a significant attempt to prepare people for society after they get out. It's tucked up. How about how much we pay athletes and movie stars? Never seen people complain about salaries being too high. On the other hand, people think doctors make too much. At least they try to keep you alive and running. Edit. I understand the concept of supply/demand. I understand that these people's salaries are driven by ticket sales and so on. I think the other part of this are the people who think they made too much and still drive that market forward. Tickets are expensive for a reason. Athletes and movie stars generate billions of dollars and create thousands of jobs. They deserve monies. They do deserve money. They are both intense, costly jobs. They don't deserve that much money, though. Cosmetic plastic surgery. There are some exceptions where it definitely benefits the person, like rhinoplasty to improve breathing. But I mean, when it gets taken to an excessive level. Like Megan Fox. Why, Megan? Why did you do this? Ugh, she used to be hot, but now she looks like a melted Barbie doll had sex with Mickey Rourke. Pooping in your own home. Animals must think we are idiots. Yeah, you should poop in someone else's home. Like cats. Or in your roommate's food. Like cockroaches. The fact that some girls call their man in bed daddy. Like what the hell? I demand to be called Big Daddy. I demand to be called Mr. Bubbles. Location services on apps. Why does Angry Birds need to know where I live? Better yet, why is Angry Birds an empire now? I'm so frustrated by this. We don't need Angry Birds Lego and Angry Birds Candyland Edition and Angry Birds stores. That poor horse is a pile of pulp by now. Embalming the dead. I can just see the outsider now. So you mean, when you die, you drain all of their blood and replace it with some other fluid? And you do this so they look as close to alive as possible for a few additional days? I will mention it preserves things a few days so that everyone can attend the funeral. I attended a funeral, cremation, in another country. And basically I had to immediately fly there. And it was very expensive. I got off the plane, drove to the funeral home, saw the body, and within 15 minutes, cremation occurred. I think it was more abrupt and jarring to everyone that could attend. I kind of think seeing the body makes you realize why you are there. Open casket funerals are a bit weird to me. So far as I know, they aren't the norm here in Australia. Although luckily I have very limited funeral experience. Statues of little boys peeing water out of a fountain. Yet when I want to hire real boys to do it for fancy dinner gatherings, they arrest me. Well, if we are talking creepiness, then the internet. You can Google /Facebook/etc. someone at any time of day without them knowing and learn some personal information about them. Heck, if you use Foursquare or Facebook check-ins, people who you might not know very well can see exactly where you are. IRL. As fun and useful as the internet is, I don't know that I want every webpage that has my name somewhere on it visible to the whole world. As someone who has used the internet to put into place creepy, rage-fueled, incredibly long-term revenge plots, I agree with you. For low-up edit duck throwaways, we'll do it live. Since apparently it's a runt move to lead into a story like that with no explanation. I'll elaborate on portions of the whole thing, though there are some parts that I should probably leave out for legal reasons. Bit of a long read, but duck you. You asked. Here is my story of the internet enabling me to take my misdirected anger and turn it into a deep, dark, ducked up, long-term story of revenge. So, dating a girl for 4 years. Went to different colleges. Moved to be with the girl. When we first move in with each other, things are great. Like, insanely good. Colby Calais should have been singing about that hit. We both graduate. Find great jobs. I'm working at an engineering firm. She's working at a fantastic company. Think Google with more on the job drinking. I hit you not. They have a full pub on site. Company is absolutely taking off. Fortune 500 for fastest growing companies for 5 years running now. And she's in on the ground floor. So, as tends to happen with these things, she starts acting weird. Staying late at work. Acting weird with her phone. The whole stereotypical cheating 9 yards. I, being young and in love, blind myself to this and totally convince myself that nothing is going on. We stay together another year or so, and I attend multiple work functions, meeting all her coworkers. There's one guy in particular who just seems weirdly friendly and always gave me weird vibes. Always going out of his way to come slap me on the back, shoot the hit, etc. In hindsight I assume this was some sort of weird cuckolding thing. Dunno. But it ended up being a bad move on his part. So, it turns out she's cheating. At work. Like. All the duckine time. Did I mention the guy is married to a super hot wife? Still not sure what he was thinking? Yeah, he's married. Now, I'm a pretty laid back guy. In any normal situation, I'd say it happens. Move all her hit into the yard while she's at work. Change the locks. And call it a day. I did do all those things. But for some reason the sheer disrespect the guy showed with his cuckolding just got to me. So, I did what any normal internet using psychopath would do. And I start finding out absolutely everything I can about this guy. Interests. Background. Friends. etc. I use the whole social media arsenal to do this. Facebook. Foursquare. Twitter. And of all things Reddit. And hey, buddy, if you're reading this, we are just getting started. This segs into finding out about his wife. Specifically, I start looking into his wife's friends and where they hang out. I find out what they are interested in. I pick a mark and make my move. Long story short, I start sleeping with one of the wife's friends. Not a super close friend, mind you, as I needed a little insulation for the coming hitchow. After a few weeks of ducking around, the friend and I get talking about past relationships. The conversation inevitably moves to cheating, and I mention a few little things she'll pick up on. First the company name, then his first name, and then when she asks more I spill the whole story. Hell, I'm such a nice guy I even show her the emails and texts I found. And hell, I'm such a trusting guy. I leave her alone with these windows open, never even suspecting she might send copies to herself. Eventually she comes clean and tells me she's friends with the wife and knows the husband. In my shock, I make her swear that she won't say a word. She of course does. And I of course know she's full of hit. We continue ducking around for a bit, and then eventually head our separate ways. We stay friends. And every time that conversation comes up I make sure she remembers her promise. So, about a year after the breakup, and 2 years after the cheating, she breaks her promise. Now, keep in mind, after 2 years any guy who cheats thinks he's in the clear. It's in the past. Buried. Never crosses his mind. Well, the friend spills everything to Wiffy. Emails. Texts. Everything. Hit. Needless to say, hits the fan. Long story short, guy's wife makes him quit his job. He goes from being in on the ground floor at a Fortune 500 company, which will most likely be worth billions of dollars within 10 years, to being at a hitty, dead-end job with no prospects. Last I heard from the friend, she's met with a divorce lawyer and already started inventorying assets. He has no idea. There are a few other, longer term things which I won't comment on here for a lot of reasons. Suffice to say that with a sufficient amount of time and crazy, there is a huge amount of really private, really creepy information out there for the taking. Follow up to the follow up edit. So, wow, this one really hit a nerve. Getting lots of questions, and I'm going to answer a few of the recurring ones here as opposed to answering each individually. The biggest one is probably why take this out on the guy and not the ex. Couple of different reasons on that. First and foremost, Just because I didn't mention the ex doesn't mean she didn't have a rough time of this. Unfortunately, hers mostly consisted of a terribly drawn out and unhealthy attempt to reconcile and break up. Basically emotionally poisonous for us both. Not proud of how I acted during this time. The second reason is I wasn't all that mad about the cheating itself. The real anger for me stemmed from his gloating in texts, emails, and in person. Second most common, you do realize that this is super unhealthy / creepy / insane. Right? Absolutely. That's why I'm talking about it in a creepiest thing thread. It's not necessarily something I'm proud of. Outside of the weird dedication it took to make it all happen, and continue to happen. This all happened during a very weird period in my life. But it happened, and I stand by my actions. Third most common comment, bullshit. You're just trolling and less proof. Seriously? Yeah, let me just personally identify a bunch of people. Several of whom are facing an impending legal battle. To a riled up mob of strangers on the internet. That will surely end well. Right? Fourth most common, can I hire you to stalk my ex / boss / girl whose hair I secretly sniff on the bus? As interesting of a potential business opportunity as this is, I'm gonna have to decline. I don't think I could devote my full focus without the burning rage of 1,000 suns that I had going at the time this all happened. Another common one, why not just tell the wife? Why go through all this trouble? 2 reasons, I wanted to draw it out. So the guy would feel nice and secure in his life before I wrecked it. And I wanted to maintain a level of insulation so that I could sit back and spectate, rather than being an active participant in the ensuing fireworks. Deniability wasn't a part of it as this is a no-fault divorce state. And I've never denied it. So, there's a few. I'll try to grab a few more if I missed any good ones. TL, Dr. No. Duck you. Read it. I went straight to the TL. Doctor then felt bad for doing so. Edit, you're a goddamn monster. Have my children. Coaches slapping underage athletes on the ass. How else will I know that I've done a good job? Well, the voters did make you governor, didn't they? Make sure to like and subscribe for more Ask Reddit videos.